everybody, welcome back to Windmills Cooking School in conjunction with North Lanarkshire Council's Virtual School. So Jordan, I know we're cooking something that I absolutely love today, so why don't you tell our viewers about what it is?
We're making a Chinese dish that's chicken and mushrooms with rice.
Why I really love this is because it tastes exactly like you would get out of a Chinese restaurant for a fraction of the cost. You know, probably about a quarter of what it would cost you. And actually the cooking time is maybe, what did you say, about
A few minutes.
a few minutes, so it's quicker than when you get a takeaway, phoning your takeaway probably. Okay Jordan, so what ingredients do we have?
So we've got some chicken breast, some long grain rice, some mushrooms, white pepper, fresh ginger, garlic, salt and sugar, oyster sauce, dark soy sauce, groundnut oil and sesame oil.
Well, that's it. And I think what makes the dish really elevate, I've tried to cook Chinese food in the house and it tastes like a kind of Scottish version of it. Why this tastes different? What ingredients do you think that make elevate that to taste like proper
The
Chinese
sesame oil, definitely, you smell that and it just smells like the Chinese right away, doesn't it? The oyster sauce, the white pepper.
White pepper is something I've never used until I tried cooking Chinese, and that gives it that.
Does make such a difference.
Lovely.
So we're just going to start by slicing our chicken. If there's any bits, any horrible wee fatty bits or whatever, you can just cut them off. So we're just going to, when we're cutting this, cut it nice and thin, kind of like you would, I suppose, for fajitas, because this cooks really fast. So obviously the thinner the strips, the faster it's going to cook. So I've cut my chicken into nice thin strips and I'm just about to go and wash my hands because I've been touching raw meat.
Which could, if you don't, it could cause massive spread of germs, so always make sure you wash your hands.
So I've just put a kind of medium sized pot on for my rice as well, just kind of filled it halfway. So you can use boiling water for the kettle just if you want it to be quicker, or you can put cold in and let it come up to the boil.
And the rice, because it takes longer than the cooking actually.
Aye, that would take a wee bit longer than everything else. So that's my water coming to the boil for my rice, so I'm just going to pour that in carefully so I don't splash and burn myself.
Or me.
Or you. So while my rice is cooking, I'm just going to prep my mushrooms. So I've washed these, just put them in a big bowl with some cold water and just a wee bit of salt, give it a wee swoosh around and then just dried them off a bit with some blue roll or kitchen roll. So you don't want them maybe in it for too long because they'll absorb the water. So we're just going to quarter these, maybe if they're a bit bigger, like this one, you can maybe cut it again, but for a kind of normal sized mushroom I would say just quarter it. So next I'm going to prepare my ginger. So I've cut it into a wee bit about this size. I'm just going to go round about it and cut the skin off, just as little as you can. You don't want to take away half the ginger. And then just cutting it as small as I can. So this is easier the better your knife is. So I've got my garlic cloves here. I'm just going to, you can give this a wee squash with your hand and then the skin should just peel away like that. And then we're just going to, you can cut this up really, really finely, just like we did with the ginger. I can get this off.
It's fiddly all that, isn't it? But it's worth it.
So that's got all the skin off of these bits. If you just give it a squash with your hand, you can crush it like this. If you add a wee bit of salt, it'll make it kind of gritty. So you can crush it like that, or you can just cut it really, really finely like we did with the ginger there. So I'll do it like this way, and then the other, you want to make sure it is really, really small so you don't get a mouthful, you just garlic. So I'm just going to go and drain my rice now. So while that was cooking, I cut my mushrooms and prepped my garlic and my ginger. So this, it's really fast to make this, so that's why I would say be ready with everything.
Yeah, because you're cooking this in minutes,
Yeah.
so you can't have your meat already and the rice still to cook. So you can heat the rice up if it gets cold at all in the microwave, can't you?
You can heat it back. So I'm just going to go and drain that powder. So now that I've drained my rice, I've got my pan nice and hot. It needs to be really hot for this. I'm going to add my ground nut oil first, not my sesame oil.
Now, I'm going to time these things, Jordan, because I know that it's really precise, isn't it?
Yeah.
So make sure you don't just guess at this, because overcooked chicken's horrible, and undercooked chicken as well is dangerous. So I'm going to time each time. Starting now, Jordan, okay? Let's go.
There's my ginger and my garlic.
Maybe give it a good stir about, don't you, so it doesn't stick.
Yep.
You start to smell the lovely aroma and
Smells
smell
lovely.
of the garlic and the ginger. It's lovely.
There's 130 seconds are up, we'll add our chicken.
And that's cooked for
2 minutes.
2 minutes, right? So I'll set my timer. That's your 30 seconds up right now.
Alright, chicken. Just be careful with it so you don't stick burnt.
And you're stirring it all as well, because it's a very high heat a stir fry, isn't it? So
Yep.
you're making sure it all gets covered.
So after this has been in for 2 minutes, we'll add the mushrooms for 2 minutes as well.
2 minutes gone, my timer, Jordan.
2
So
minutes. So
mushrooms, I'll press
In with the
start
mushrooms.
again. And keeping on stirring, isn't it? It's like our frying pan's probably a bit small.
Right.
If you go into a Chinese restaurant, you see they use the big woks.
Massive big wok.
So if you've got a wok, that would be ideal. If you don't, probably I would think a bigger frying pan. And it gives you what to keep moving it, keep turning it about at a high heat.
So I've got 120 ml of boiling water here. I'm just going to crumble my chicken stock cube into it. Just give it a wee mix. And I've got my corn flour here as well. I'm just going to add my water to that.
So how much water? It's double, isn't it?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So I've got 3 tablespoons of water and 1.5 tablespoons of corn flour. So you're just going to mix that so it goes a little pasty. It needs to be cold water, just make sure it's definitely cold. Okay. So I'm just going to add everything now apart from my sesame oil and my corn flour. So there goes the chicken stock, my soy sauce, sugar, salt, some white pepper, and my oyster sauce. Give it a mix. So that's just about everything in. We're going to just leave this just now, let it reduce by about a third. So that means basically we want a kind of this to disappear, so we've only got like a kind of third of the liquid.
So you
amount
have
that
it
we
up really
just
high
now.
and it's boiling away basically.
Yeah, and then once that's done, we'll add in a corn flour. We'll keep stirring it just to thicken it up.
So what happens is the liquid evaporates, doesn't it? So you're left with
Basically. So we've let that reduce. I'm just going to add in the corn flour now and keep stirring it. And then you'll feel the sauce thickening up. Just make
Yeah.
sure you keep stirring it. It's amazing how fast that goes. You feel it just going from liquid like water into
a
actual
rich
sauce.
like a rich sauce. If you don't ever add corn flour without mixing it with water first, because it'll just go lumpy.
Yeah.
But it is a great way to thicken any kind of runny gravy or sauce, isn't it?
Straight away I can already feel that.
It looks amazing.
It smells so good.
That looks a bit done, does it, Jordan? I don't know really, but
Yep, so I'll just take that off. Once we take it off the heat, we'll add in the sesame oil.
and that's just really to give it flavour, isn't it, at the end? And
Yep,
it gives it
tastes
that
nice
real
and Chinesey.
Uh-huh.
Just give that a mix through, and then we'll plate it up in a wee second. So you can serve this any way you want. I've just put my rice into a wee bowl and just pressing it down with the back of a spoon just to keep it nice and compact. Put your plate that way if you want to do this rather than try and tip your rice on it upside down.
This is all the bit that I can't do. My dinners are always awful looking, but here when you're cooking, Jordan, the food always looks beautiful.
It's dead easy once you get.
Well, that isn't for me. It might be dead easy for you, but this looks incredible.
It was the smell of it, I think, over how good that actually smells. Just trying not to make a mess in my nice plate. There you go.
That's it.
That's that.